So today I'm getting ready to swap the Jordan 16, the Cherry Woods. I really like this colorway. They never retroed ever before, but I just can't wait for Nike or Jordan to retro these out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab 2016 navy and take the bottoms off of it and use it for the Cherry Woods. I already started separating the navy OG or 2016 navies, and as you can see, fits pretty well on there. Obviously I'm gonna have to paint this silver color right here because the original Cherry Woods have a silver kind of color scheme down here. And things that you're gonna need for the swap is you're gonna need acetone to remove all the old glue. You're gonna need a smaller Dremel, pretty cheap. Picked up mine at the Harbor Freight Tools for like 10 bucks. And of course the glue. And a couple old brushes that you can just throw away. Now, since the 2016 navies have a clear bottom, I want to use the Cherry Wood, kind of like the dark, kind of like wine color bottoms on it. And I believe that's going to be kind of the hardest part to put on there. I don't have any barge glue, so I'm going to give it a go with the Wellwood glue that can be found at pretty much any hardware store there. But once we're done, everything should look pretty good on here. So I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna get started by pretty much cleaning off any old stuff from the donor sole. See right here, and I'm gonna just kind of lightly clean off any old residue off of there. You don't have to be too crazy, just kind of clean up as much as possible. And I kind of started doing this on my own, and swapping and stuff, since the prices like that other services be charging, it's like $300, and I can't justify paying $300 for a sole swap, especially since all the materials are much less than that, including the donors and the shoes I bought, Cherry Wood. So this makes no sense. So once I get all the stuff off there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little acetone to kind of get the rest of it off. I'll just kind of do an extra cleaning step with the acetone. I did use the acetone on the 2016 donors because the glue was still pretty efficient, so it was kind of hard just to kind of pull apart with like hot water or anything like that. So I just decided to kind of use acetone on it very carefully, because it seems like the acetone is kind of so strong that it's pretty kind of rough on the sole material. So you just use it very kind of carefully there. And the air pocket on this one is pretty nice and solid too, so pretty good. Obviously, for demonstration purposes, I'm only going to do the right shoe for this video. I will finish them up, and I'm definitely going to rock them as long as they come out good. I'm not saying I'm an expert in swapping soles or anything like that, but again, what's the worst that can happen? I mean, I think I paid like $40 for the donors. They were pretty beat up. The bottoms were pretty in good condition though, so for my application, it's kind of a sweet deal. Kind of just going over the whole sole right now real quick, so I can just kind of give it some groove. So when I actually apply the glue to it, it will have something attached to. We'll see this being done in terms of application where the surface is kind of roughened up just to get a better adhesive. Or better bond. So, took a lot of the old glue off. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to grab a little bit of acetone. And yes, I'm doing this all from my kitchen table. Really don't have a designated area to do this. Again, you just gotta get the surfaces clean enough to so the glue can have something to go to bone to. Most of the time, whenever you use a brush, pretty much just buy cheap brushes from Walmart or something like that, and you know, something I can just discard. Sometimes you have some stubborn glue that doesn't want to come off, but that's okay. That's enough to kind of bond the surfaces. And I'm gonna have to use a Dremel again on this area right here because this glue is kind of tough. Factory glue is usually pretty tough. I didn't have a hard time separating the cherry wood because they're so old that the glue is pretty much already kind of expired, I guess. If that's the thing, but it seems like that was the case. Literally just separated on its own. I think all I had to do was just wet the sole and it just came right off. Also, by doing this, you're gonna have like a little better fitment. It won't be so tight to like mend them together. Sometimes when you get kind of like a newer shoe and start using like the donor of a new shoe, they don't kind of match up exactly perfect like that. I don't know if the manufacturer back then had a problem kind of getting the size correct there, but a lot of the times they don't just directly fit right on there. Certain models do, but a lot of them don't. So I think I'm gonna really get it much better than that. If I do, I'm just gonna start taking away too much material off the foam down here. I don't want to do that, so I'm just gonna finish this wiping it off with the acetone. Feel comfortable that I got it off now. And by the way, I'm OG. I like kind of like the older style. So this is the 17 right here, the white and reds. I already kind of swapped out the bottoms there. I used the Chicago 2017 plus. I think they're 2017 if I'm not mistaken. And swap came out pretty nice on these ones. I just gotta spray the bottom. I did get this translucent red for the bottom, but because this is a black color right here as a base, I'm gonna have to spray it with a kind of like a pale white color right there to try to maintain some of that kind of translucentness. And then I gotta go over this with the red translucent red, and it's gonna give me a pretty close match to the original. And then obviously this is pretty simple. I just use kind of a little Angelus metallic silver with a little dark gray, and it'll give you the original color there. And yeah, and obviously with this one I also kind of added this right here as well. And this is kind of like a 3D print right here from the back. I did it at work. But yeah, that's gonna be kind of my next video, finishing that up. I haven't done the other, in this case will be the right pair. So when I actually start working on the other right pair, I will record that one, and I'm gonna record the painting process as well. So stay tuned for that one. So now that it is all kind of cleaned up, what I'm gonna do is, obviously I'm gonna grab the glue now, and I'm gonna start bonding these two pieces first right here. So it's going to be your midsole and the sole itself. I'm going to bond them right there. Again, I want to maintain that original kind of wine kind of little bottom there. And then obviously I'm going to paint the silver right there, so it's going to give it that as close as possible to that factory look. And what you want to do now with your old brush is just start applying the glue, light colors on it. And what I did with the glue was I put the can, this is the Wellwood can right here, I put it on the hot water just so the glue can be a little more easier to apply. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do light coats of glue on there. I think I'm going to go over it twice. And then I will start gluing them together. Obviously, if you read the instructions, you have to let the glue set for about 20-25 minutes. And then you can bond the two pieces together. But just make sure you have very good coverage of the glue on the sole and the midsole. I really haven't used Wellwood much, but I did use it on the 17s, and they seem to hold pretty well. The only difference is that I feel like Wellwood is not a high tension adhesive, so anytime you have a sole that requires kind of pressing or clamping down, you are going to have to let it sit for a solid like 24 hours before you even like can take it apart. Versus barge, like within 2 hours of like bonding parts, you literally can you can unclamp them after a couple hours, and it should be okay. Yeah, I know I'm not using a mask right now, and it's definitely recommended to use a mask. But I do have the windows opened up, and it is pretty cold outside, so I mean, the air that's coming in is pretty fresh in here. I think if I'm not mistaken, it's like 20 degrees outside, and when the wind chills feels like 3, so it's pretty cold at home, but I like it like that here. So, and I save a couple of dollars on my heating costs. And if you read the back of the can, it also tells you that you can let it sit for up to 2 hours before you have to bond them together. I haven't tried holding off for that long, but I might for this one. I don't know. See if it works any better like that. The trick is to make sure you get it everywhere it needs to go. So I want to wait like about 10 minutes after applying it, and then I'm gonna let it dry for those 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna go back again and I'm gonna apply another coat on it, and I'm gonna do this to both sides. So it's gonna ensure I have enough glue for the shoe to hold on very well, or the soles to hold on very well, considering that's kind of the most stressed out area as we're walking and stepping. That would be the area where you want a good coverage of glue. It's going to be a lot of flexing happening there on the soles, so I guess you can be very generous with the glue. Again, the bottom there. And Wellwood's pretty cheap too as well. I think I bought the can for like $12. Medium-sized can, or what they sell. They normally do sell a very small one as well, but since I was gonna do a couple swaps, I figured I'd get the bigger can and get the better deal. And if you don't know how this contact adhesive works, I mean, you need to keep both pieces separated. I have made some repairs before in the past where I don't want to take the whole bottoms off, so I'll just do a small section, and as long as you tape it very well and are able to keep them separated, it also works. But in my experience, kind of better just to kind of start off with a separation and then redo the whole thing again. I don't know why, but it just works better. And if the glue starts getting kind of too thick, what you want to do is close the can back up, put it under hot water again, and it should get real nice and soft again, or nice and flowy, if that's even a word. I guess it's a word for me. And same deal, make sure you get these edges right here. Seems like the edges is always kind of the areas that give more of a hard time to bond there. So I'm just making sure I got good coverage of that here. And the sole on the donut is very good condition as well, considering the cherry woods literally just kind of crumble as soon as you touch them. So definitely much better start right here now. So by the time I'm done with this one, I'll just wait like another 5 minutes, pick the other one back up, and give it another coat of glue. Some shoes actually take a little while to glue, specifically the 17s, due to the fact that that it requires multiple areas that are high tension. So unfortunately, I have to kind of let the glue cure for a solid 24 hours before you can even do anything with the shoe. So it's a multi-day, multi-piece process, pretty much. But if you're patient, things usually come out very well. So keep that in mind. Be patient. Don't try to rush it. I mean, you can, but results are going to be questionable and funny. So just take your time. After all, remember, these are exclusive. Most of the people that have them, they can't even wear them. So if you're going to do a good job where you have a shoe where you want to wear and whatnot, might as well take your time with the shoe. I'm going to do with mine. And I do have all the gaiters, the shroud gaiter things, the covers, I guess. And they're still in good condition. I am going to kind of do some kind of modifying though towards the little plastic strap that keeps them together. Since the strap is very old, so I'll probably show some kind of video on that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to let the two sides kind of dry up for about like 10 minutes. I'll come back and then I'll add another coat of it. Alright guys, so I went ahead and applied that second layer of contact cement on there. Applied it very, gave it good coverage. See how it's kind of still shiny, tacky. So I'm going to wait a couple more minutes and then I'm going to heat them both sides up and then try to put them together as careful as possible. You only get kind of one shot with this, so you want to get it right the first time. While I had the soles went in and dried up right there, what I ended up doing was I actually replaced this little pull tab. Again, this is from the 2016 Navy, and what I ended up doing is like I cut it out, but I also cut extra there, so when I actually glued it onto the shoe, I was able to push it into the seam, so it looks very nice in there. You can't really see any difference there. It looks pretty good. So now I'm gonna go ahead and heat up the soles there just for like a minute, just so I can have a little kind of stickiness to it. Any cheap blow dryer would work. I'm actually using my girl's dryer. I'm just gonna give it a quick heating up. Just to make it tacky again. Not crazy tacky, but just trying to get tacky. I'll do this to the bottom sole as well. Again, not much. Now, this is the part right here that's kind of hard. Like I said, you only have one shot of getting this right, so get it right. I'm gonna try to be as careful as possible. Matter of fact, I think I'm gonna stick like something to keep them separated until the bottom is kind of glued on as good as possible there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put this right up here, this little thing, just to keep them separated, like I said. at this point, I'm gonna start gluing it on there. And kind of already fucked up already. But what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to so I separated them a tiny bit again. Heating this up because it's kind of like bonded a little bit too close to that edge right there, so I'm gonna just wait off a little bit, peel it a little bit. I'm gonna heat this up again because, like I said, the bond is kind of weirdly there. I'm gonna go ahead and try to see if I can do this corner. Like I said, you only get one shot at the stuff. Sometimes shit like this happens, but for the most part, it's pretty good. I may have to actually redo this very small section right there, just because I'm picky and I want it to be perfect. Kind of to make sure that it actually stays put there, I'm going to actually clamp that edge down. Yeah, unfortunately, like I said, this stuff is pretty kind of tough to do to get it right. So you can see right here, didn't do such a great bond. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to undo this tiny bit and then just kind of redo this small edge right here. That's okay. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. So I'm going to have to redo that right there, obviously. So you always got to be careful when doing this. So see what happened. But this side came out pretty neat. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clamp the rest, see if I can like save it. I don't think I'm gonna be able to save that. Unfortunately, I gotta re-glue that section. That's alright. That's gonna be an easier job there. I'm gonna actually leave that for last. I'm gonna concentrate on everything else here. Just make sure you push on it very well there. So you can see the bottom are now on there. It's a pretty permanent bond, so like I said, just do it right the first time. Sucks. Kind of have to like kind of wait. But I'm gonna continue with the rest of the shoe. Like I said, I'll make an adjustment to that again. Just gonna go ahead and heat everything up. Try to kind of make it a little flexible and allow the glue to settle real nice on there. Try to get some of this glue that I know I'm gonna have to clean off again from here. Oh, because again, I didn't line them up perfectly correct there, so unfortunately I'm gonna have to, like I said, re-glue that again, but it's gonna be too hard. The hard part is done already. Using a flathead to kind of make sure everything fits on there very well. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and continue with the uppers. Should be able to actually glue that other area very easily. So I'm going to leave, like I said, for last. here it is. And I'm going to continue with the, it doesn't look that bad, but you can see the didn't line up. So like I said, I'm going to just redo that little area right there. Unfortunately, I got to let it kind of cure a little bit before I go that far again. So I'll do that and then should be okay. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to grab the bottoms. Same deal. I'm going to put some glue on and let it dry for a little bit. Hopefully the bonding process here comes out okay. I let my brush sit in a little acetone so I can not let the glue cure on it. That way I'm able to use it multiple times. Again, they're pretty cheap, so you can just buy another set of brush. So again, be very thin layers, a few layers, and you should be okay to bond it. Plus, it makes you kind of excited when you actually see the 20-something-year-old shoe here coming back to life in a sense. Oh, and another thing, if you're gonna do kind of a clear bottom, I wouldn't recommend using Wellwood because Wellwood has a kind of like a yellow color, so essentially you would end up with kind of like a yellow sole because the color of the glue, and then when it dries up it actually gets even more yellower or brown color, so we don't want that. And again, this is one of my first videos, so bear with me. Sometimes I sound monotone or whatever, but that's just me. Got sick and tired of waiting on the manufacturer to retro these out again, so figure I'd do my own, and I'm gonna do them as good as I can, considering that these shoes I haven't retroed out, so the parts are not the same color, blah 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 blah. Now this process is going to be the same deal. You're just going to apply a fair amount of glue, not too heavy because we are still going to put 2 coats, but just enough where you're covering everything. Let it sit for again like 10-15 minutes, come back, apply glue again, and same deal, let it sit, and then you can come back, heat it up and bond them. Remember, I'm only doing the right shoe at the moment. Like I said, I am going to do both sides since I plan on wearing these. So, and where it's more important to kind of put the glue, the whole shoe is important to have glue, but where you want to make sure you have kind of a good coverage, it's on your edges here. For some reason, and to my experience, the edges kind of tend to not always get the best bond. And I don't know if that's kind of where the shoe is actually like more tense, has more tension. But from my experience, that's the area where you want to make sure your coverage is spot on. Again, remember, this is glue, so anything that kind of messes up, you can just go back and, ideal to kind of get it done the first time, but we are working from home. It's not like we're in a shoe factory where we have all the equipment to get it done, so things don't always come out perfect. So good thing, like I said, you can just go back and spend a little more time and make it better. So I will do with that bottom where the bottom didn't bond too well there, or actually bonded a little bit off. So I got my first coat in here. Yeah, like I said, you see the little area where it didn't kind of sit all the way inside there. This side did very well. Everything else came out real nice. That's okay, like I said, we'll take care of that. That's kind of the smallest problem that we may have. Just kind of what I'm gonna do later on is I'll just tape it up right there so I don't get excess glue. Obviously, I don't want to undo the whole bottom again, so I'll just tape off the two edges right there, and then I'll grab a very fine brush and I should be able to kind of get it on there. So now the uppers, I did Dremel the sides right here. You can see that where the old glue was at, so it's all dremeled out. So now I'm gonna do the same thing, just apply liberally, let it dry, and then come back, put another coat on there. And it's a good thing that you kind of see the outline from the old glue, even though I cleaned most of it off. I left the very outline of it at the very top like that, so I know where the bond should be done and kind of where the shape is going to be. Again, make sure you have very good coverage on the edge right here. And once I'm done, like I said, I'll let them sit for 10-15 minutes, come back, apply another coat, let them sit again, and then they're ready to bond or mate together. And I like to kind of go just a tiny bit above the glue line, or where the old glue is at, just so I can make sure that we're going to bond all the way to the very top of the edges there. Sometimes you kind of put it right on the old glue line, and you can still see the seam of both shoes right there where the glue wasn't high up enough there. But from learning from doing this, what I tend to do is go up a little higher, just to make sure that it's going to be a solid coverage. And as I've been making the video, obviously every time I gotta let the shoes sit and dry, I pause the video and then come back and resume recording. So that's why you'll see me moving to a next step, and it's because I paused the video and I continued after the glue settled and able to kind of bond them. It makes no sense to keep recording dry time. Like I said, I hope this one comes out okay right here, because I mean at this point it's kind of getting annoying, especially when you gotta wait every time to dry out and whatnot. So So put glue on it. I'm gonna let it sit a little bit. I am gonna pause the video for the time being and resume it when it's ready. So when it's ready, I'll come back and I'll end up mating these two surfaces together and we'll see how it comes out. Alright guys, so I went ahead and applied the second layer of glue on there, and it's been drying for like 15 to 20 minutes. Again, following the instruction on the can, it's what it says to do that. So now I'm going to be very careful, and I'm not sure if I'm going to go front to back or back to front, but I'm going to try my best to get it on the first try. Obviously it sucks when you got to start over again, but we'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm not a professional, so I'm just going at it on my own. Be very gentle and very careful as you're placing this on there. Try to be as centered as possible. And then I'm going to just be careful doing this right here. So far, so good. So this is it, guys. Looks very good, man. I'm gonna have to obviously clamp the back up a little bit there just so I can hold. Besides that, it came out real good. And you'll see why I told you that you want to kind of go all the way up with the glue. But for what it is, it came out real good. I'm going to kind of stuff the shoe in there so I can kind of give it a little support. Allows me to kind of push on this really well. So what I'm gonna do now is I have this nice little thing I made right here. So you can see right here, it's kind of not all the way on there yet. Yeah, there's certain areas that didn't kind of bond the best there, but it's all kind of glue jobs. It takes like a little bit to kind of make it real nice there. So I'm gonna just kind of tape up the areas just to kind of assure that it kind of bonds there. But I mean, let me go grab something and kind of stuff in there to make the shoe a little more wider. So I'm gonna use the bubble wrap. Then I'm gonna just kind of put tape on there. As you can see, it's on there now. But I want to finish this up real nice right here. So I'm just gonna grab painter's tape. Not that piece. Piece broke off. Waste of tape right there. So I'm gonna just kind of tape these little areas right here so I can just kind of hold on as much as possible. I think I'm gonna have to do some additional glue in there. It seems like it didn't bond too well, I guess. But overall, it does look pretty nice. And I know I'm gonna be able to wear them, so. What you want to do is kind of just go around, just help it bond. Make sure you have good tape. This tape kind of sucks right now, but it's all I have, so it is what it is. The reason I stuffed it is so I can have some support in there and then don't cave in. And it did hold on pretty well, so I'm very happy with that right there. I kind of add pressure to the areas right there. I'll put some of it as well up here as well. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clamp the back of it. And I'm going to add another tape up here. gonna take this tiny area here. Same deal. I'm gonna heat it up a tiny bit to see if it'll have a little more heat in this. Since I heated it up, I'm gonna tape it up with there as well. See if it helps out to secure it. Again, make sure you just apply pressure to all the areas that were glued. So this is kind of what the shoe looks like right now, just so I can like kind of hold it in place. Again, I want to just heat it up again. I'm going to put one on the front as well. I want to make sure this thing holds. So I'm going to put one on each corner right here on the front, and I'll let it kind of sit for like an hour or two and see what's up, see how it looks and whatnot. This will ensure that you have pressure on the shoe itself there. Looks like I'm gonna have to put a little more tape around these areas here. Then the bond's gonna get any better than that, so like I said, I know I'm gonna have to go back and do some kind of touch-up work with the glue, but for the most part it's on there. It's just kind of the very top of the edges. It's gonna have to kind of tape them off and then just add another layer of glue on those little areas there, and so this is it. All glued on there, taped up. The back end is kind of a little bit separated there, but I'm gonna have to just heat up the glue and put a clamp back here. See this little area right here? Just gonna clamp it down. Like I said, I put this little C clamp in here, or C metal bracket, shape of a shoe, and just gonna put a clamp right there so I can push back and hold it in place. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to grab the biggest clamp. I'm actually going to clamp the shoe directly onto the table right here. So just kind of going to use this as so of that. This is also going to help push the shoe down as well. And I'm going to use another clamp on the back side of it, and it should, technically it should stick both edges together at that point. I'm going to use this other piece on the back side of it. It has like a little curve to it. So what's going to happen is I'm going to clamp this area here, and then this is going to push the shoe, kind of add pressure to the shoe on the other side. I'm actually going to bend it a little more so we can have kind of a very good curvature. And like so. Now I should be able to just push the shoe onto itself by using a second clamp. I'll be using this clamp right here to push the shoe further back, and it should kind of sometimes these clamps don't work too well, but I'll make it work. Now I need another clamp to hold this down to the table, and technically we should be okay. I do have to reheat that back glue up a little right there, just so it can do its thing again. So I'm gonna put this down a little more so I can see what I'm doing. So at this point, now I'm just making it go for as far back as possible. Now I'm gonna heat it up one more time. And then I'm gonna let it dry for a solid hour. Should be okay at that point. It's gonna be kind of a multiple part video, obviously, because I gotta do some touch-up work. But for the most part, I'm happy with how it come out, and trying to make sure it looks good all the way around. It does look pretty good. Remember, that's gonna be always a little touch-up. We're not the factory. It's not like we get them perfectly done, but overall, it's pretty good. Like I said, I'll let it sit for another hour, and then I'll do a second video part of it. And I'll re-upload again once I'm done with part 2.